Okay, so 16.4. So first three verses of 16th chapter, Krishna describes the divine qualities. The divine qualities were discussed based on the four ashramas. But at the end, it is said that for somebody who is wanting to make progress on spiritual path, these qualities are very important to be developed. Developing these qualities automatically happens if somebody is engaged 24 hours in devotional service. But for those who are not, to the extent, based on the extent of their intensity in doing bhakti, these qualities will develop. Some develop easily, some require additional effort. So, and that is a constant effort for a devotee to anarthas have to reduce and these good qualities have to develop. Okay, so now Krishna is going to talk about asurim, demoniac nature. Dambo darpo vimanascha krodha parushyameva cha agnanam cha vijatasya partha sampadamasurim. Pride, arrogance. Pride doesn't mean arrogance. Pride and arrogance are different. So pride, arrogance, conceit, abhimana. No, darpa and abhimana, there seems to be some difference. Arrogance and conceit. 1 second. So arrogance, haughtiness is also said conceit, but I'm sure there is some difference. Excessive pride. Okay, conceit is excessive pride. Arrogance is haughtiness, just being arrogant, rude. Conceit is narcissism. Okay, excessive pride in oneself is conceit. Okay, so the abhimana, yeah, is about themselves. Excessive pride. Narcissism is the right word actually. Narcissism means glorifying oneself, that I am great. That is narcissism. Almost like worshipping oneself. Anger, harshness, parushyam, and ignorance. Okay. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature. Vasanapruta. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. Royal road to hell. So which means that if we have these qualities, then we are on the path, royal road to hell. The demoniac want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science, although they do not follow the principles. So we should follow the principles, otherwise we will be considered demoniac. They're always arrogant or proud in possessing some type of education or such wealth. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. So the difference between demand respect and command respect means automatically it comes. Others give respect because of that what that person is. Demand respect means others are not giving. Now we are forcefully trying to be respected by them. That is demand. Command means it's an automatic process. It just happens. Over trifles, small things, they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. Trifles, okay. They do not know what should be done, what should not be done. See, they do everything whimsically according to their own desire and they do not recognize any authority. These demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers, and as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. Meaning, this is Vabhava. This is Vabhava nature that we have got when we were born, and then slowly, gradually, these keep growing. So, arrogant, proud in possessing some type of education or such wealth. So, arrogance and pride is with respect to something that we possess. Conceit, because they think they should be worshipped and they desire to be worshipped by others. Okay, then they're angry and harsh. Over small things, they become very angry and harsh, not gentle. They are ignorant. That means that they do not know what should be done and what should not be done. So generally, when we are reading Prabhupada's purport, sometimes we think that, okay, there's no connection between the verse and what Prabhupada is writing, but no, we have to just more deeply introspect, then we'll understand. So for example, Prabhupada, when he's talking arrogant, proud, he's talking about first two qualities. Then when he's talking about the desire to be worshipped, he's talking about conceit. Then when he's talking about our trifles, they become very angry and speak harshly. So he's talking about anger and harshness. And they do not know what should be done, what should not be done. He's talking about ignorance. So he's explained all these qualities in the purport. And also they do everything whimsically. Because again of ignorance, according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. And this is actually all these qualities are very important. We should give up all these qualities, and each person, each devotee will have, may have some of these qualities to lesser or greater extent, and these are anarthas. These have to be destroyed. So authority, keep emphasizing this. It's demoniac not to accept authority. Unfortunately, in ISKCON, there's not much importance being given to authority. Even many devotees even don't really give too much attention to Guru also. To Guru's statements also, they don't give attention. Of course, they don't give attention means, first of all, they don't hear. Even if they hear, some people think that it's not for me. What Guru is saying is not for me, for somebody else. So they don't recognize authority. Okay. दैवी संपद विमोक्षाय निबंधाय सुरीमता मासु च संपदम दैवीम अभिजातोसि पांडव. Transcendental qualities or the divine qualities are conducive to liberation. Demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, you are born with divine qualities. Lord Krishna encouraged Arjuna by telling him that he was not born with demoniac qualities. His involvement in the fight was not demoniac because he was considering the pros and cons. He was considering whether respectable persons such as Bhishma and Drona should be killed or not. So he was not acting under the influence of anger, false prestige, or harshness. Therefore, he was not of the quality of the demons, because he was considering. For a Kshatriya, shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and refraining from such a duty is demoniac. Therefore, there is no cause for Arjuna to lament. Anyone who performs regulative principles of the different orders of life is transcendently situated. So Prabhupada here is saying anybody who follows Varnashrama is transcendently situated. Because those rules are given by Krishna, though they are pertaining to the body, they will gradually take a person towards Krishna or Vishnu. So that way they're transcendental. It's a transcendental system. But generally it is talked about as for those who are in conditioned life. So because it takes them from conditioned life to liberated life, it can be considered as a transcendental system. द्वौ भूतस्सर्गो लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्ता आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु. Son of Pritha. In this world, there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. I've already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me the demoniac. Lord Krishna, having assured Arjuna that he was born with divine qualities, is now describing the demoniac way. The conditioned living entities are divided into two classes. Those born with divine qualities follow a regulated life. Okay, so please pay attention to this. Being regulated in our life means it is divine. If you don't want a regulated life, regulated means getting up early in the morning, chanting Hare Krishna, following for regulated principles, eating only prasadam, not engaging with uh, asat sangha, which is non-devotees. So this is regulated life, right? So those who are born with divine qualities follow a regulated life. That is to say, they abide by the injunctions in the scriptures and by the authorities. One should perform duties in the light of authoritative scripture, not whimsically, not just thinking concocting something in our own head and doing something which no Shastra has said. Okay, so but if one performs duties in light of authoritative scripture, this mentality is called divine. So basically, to surrender to an authority is divine, because demons don't want to surrender to any authority. One who does not follow the regulative principles as they are laid down in the scriptures, see, and who acts according to his whim is called a demon or asuric. So those who don't want to accept scriptures, those who don't want to accept authorities, act according to whims, meaning their own whatever comes in their mind. I like to do this, so I will do it. This is demoniac. There's no other criteria but obedience to the regulative principles of scripture. So whether somebody is a demon or not that he has to have two horns and he has to look like wicked and terrifying. No. Basically, whether he is obedient to regulative principles of scriptures or not. It's mentioned in Vedic literature that both the demigods and demons are born of the Prajapati. The only difference is that one class obeys the Vedic injunctions and the other does not. So if we also don't obey the Vedic injunctions, the rules given for us, Vedic injunctions means whatever our acharyas have given, because we can't follow everything that is there in the Vedas, right? And because of the time and place, acharyas have given, Prabhupada has given us what we need to follow, and we need to strictly follow that. If you don't follow that, then it is as good as that we are not following Vedic injunctions. Then we end up being classified as demons. And what can we expect? I mean, if we are living like demons, how can we expect to reach Krishna? But the process of devotional service is so powerful that somehow, even if we get attached to any aspect of bhakti, right, then slowly, gradually we can make progress. But if we actually make it a very serious effort, then we'll make serious progress. Tremendous progress we'll make. Right? But if we are not making intense effort, then we will not fall away. We will definitely make progress, but it will take time. It will take time. That is the only difference. So depends on whether we want to make fast progress or we want to make slow progress. Progress will anyway happen if we are in touch with bhakti. Some more progress will happen. Right? Fast or slow depends on how much demoniac qualities we are attached to. So then it will be much slower. प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जनाना विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारो न satyam teshu vidyate. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. See, such a sweeping statement. Sweeping, because so many, I mean, like most people in this material world come under this. Right? So well, let's see what Prabhupada says in the purport. In every civilized human society, there is some set of scriptural rules and regulations which is followed from the beginning. Civilized human society, not animalistic human society. If it is a human society is civilized, then there is some set of scriptural rules and regulations. Especially among the Aryans. Aryans means those who adopt Vedic civilization and who are known as the most advanced civilized people. Those who do not follow the scriptural injunctions are supposed to be demons. Therefore, it is stated here that the demons do not know the scriptural rules, nor do they have any inclination to follow them. See, some people might know, some people don't know at all. Some people might know, but they don't have inclination to follow them. Even that is demoniac. Most of them do not know them. And even if some of them know, they have no tendency to follow them. They have no faith, nor are they willing to act in terms of Vedic injunctions. They have no faith, nor are they willing. Demons are not clean. either externally or internally. One should always be careful to keep his body clean by bathing, brushing teeth, shaving, changing clothes, etc. As far as internal cleanliness is concerned, one should always remember the holy names of God and chant Hare Krishna. The demons neither like nor follow all these rules for external and internal cleanliness. Actually, external cleanliness also it's a very unknown concept today in ISKCON. Mainly because people from different backgrounds, walks of life have come into ISKCON, which is great, right? And they're all trying to practice Krishna Bhakti, which is also very great. But they have to be trained, and this is the responsibility of all preachers. That before they present devotees, before they let devotees come to the stage of initiation, for those who are interested in taking initiation, they have to be trained. If they're not trained, then they will not fit into the parampara. And it's not good. It's not good to offer, like kacha fruit, right? When we offer to the Lord, we should offer, like suppose if we're offering fruits, we should offer fruits which are ripe, just ripe enough to be eaten, right? But when, uh, the whole process is offering a devotee at the lotus feet of a spiritual master, that process has to be such that the devotees are actually just ripe to be offered, not kacha. But people nowadays have this are very happy offering kacha fruits to Guru, saying it's okay, doesn't matter. Transcendental anyway. Kacha or not kacha, how does it matter? Let's give Krishna raw banana. Right. So this is not good. This mood is not good. Right. So and training has to be given. Training has to be given. And Brahmacharya ashram, they are given training, very, very serious, clear training is given. Nobody can flaunt. I mean, if they want to do whatever whimsical stuff, they'll be just either they'll be corrected or they'll have to leave the Brahmacharya ashram. For non-brahmacharis, girls and the other people who have not entered Brahmacharya ashram and who enter Grihastha ashram, there's no training. So basic, actually, you see, cleanliness and all should not be discussed at all. In Vedic way of life, cleanliness was like from birth only they knew, because samskara, first of all. Nowadays, it's non-known. People don't want to learn. If people are told all these things, they say too many rules. But you can't go to Goloka being like a unclean wretch. You can't go to Goloka, right? I mean, Vaishnava he has to be a Brahmana. Brahmana means cleanliness, first thing. We can take Harinam Diksha, that is fine. But ultimately, before we reach stage of perfection, we have to be perfect. That is why it's called stage of perfection. We have to be perfect. We have to be fully qualified to go to Krishna. And Krishna doesn't engage with dirtiness, because that's ignorance, tamas. Prabhupada used to tell his disciples, saying that so much of unclean stuff, and disciples would say, we are not able to see it all. He said, yeah, because you are all steeped in ignorance. How will you see? So if you are in ignorance, we can't see. If you are in Sattva-guna, we can see. And if we are in transcendental state, then we can definitely see, because Krishna doesn't like it. And we look at all this and say, hey, this is not good. Krishna doesn't like these things. Why are we doing this? Why don't we clean up stuff? Many times my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, whenever he comes, we know how neat he's so, particular about cleanliness. He's like Prabhupada used to do, like go and, like nook and corner of the Brahmacharya ashram will get cleaned. So it's very good. So sometimes every now and then Maharaj is coming, then we make sure that we are also clean externally, and then we keep the whole temple ashram clean. And many times Maharaj just goes, he picks up and he starts cleaning. He takes a broom and he starts cleaning. Right? He just doesn't, I mean, it's not like, how many times can I tell? It's like that. Like I've told, what else can I say? I will do it myself. So he'll take a broom and he'll just start sweeping, or like that, right? Because that mood is saying that, how can we offer a place to Krishna like this? Why will Krishna be happy staying in a place like this? So these things are important, I mean, feeling. That is why Prabhupada so repeatedly said Krishna as a person, Krishna as a person, Krishna as a person. Last week in our Holy Mo Center, they had offered some bananas which were not ripe. And then I kept quiet. I said, like, okay, now after the offering, program is over. Now get all the bananas. Now everybody has to eat. Eat and see what you offer to Krishna. And everybody is like, oh, this is so kacha. See, you didn't think about it often before you offered to Krishna. Right? So it's important. It's important to be conscious about these things. As for behavior, there are many rules and regulations guiding human behavior, such as the Manu Samhita, which is a law of the human race. Even up to today, those who are Hindu follow the Manu Samhita. Laws of inheritance and other legalities are derived from this book. Now, in the Manu Samhita, it is clearly stated that a woman should not be given freedom. A favorite topic. Most people can't digest this at all. Women should not be given freedom. Okay, let's go on Hartal. That does not mean that women are to be kept as slaves, but they're like children. Children are not given freedom, but that does not mean that they are kept as slaves. The demons have now neglected such injunctions and they think that women should be given as much freedom as men. However, this has not improved the social condition for the world of the world. Actually, a woman should be given protection at every stage of life. She should be given protection by the father in her younger days, by husband in her youth, and by grown-up sons in her old age. This is proper social behavior according to the Manu Samhita. But modern education has artificially devised a puffed up concept of womanly life, meaning puffed up, meaning arrogant or prideful. And therefore, marriage is practically now an imagination. Look at this statement. Why? Because of this puffed up concept of womanly life, meaning trying to give women as much or more freedom, importance than men, this whole feminism. What has happened? Marriage is practically now an imagination, which means that whatever is happening now is not marriage. It's just, male and female coming together. That's all. But that's not really marriage. Marriage as an institution has an intent, has has a goal to achieve, right? Which is to actually go to Krishna. But mostly today's people, marriages are fraught with, like anger and fighting and misunderstanding, and this and that and all that. And so it's just marriage has now become an imagination. And because of these experiences, now modern women, I think we don't want to marry at all. Why? Because I have to go through all this nonsense. But this nonsense has to be corrected. And we have to pave the way for people to understand that this is not the way for married people to live. Marriage is a beautiful institution, which can actually make one even happy in this material one, at the same time help him or her achieve perfection, go towards Krishna. One cannot be alone in life, right? At some point of time, people whom we know all will get married and they'll have their own families and their responsibilities, etc. And then we'll be alone. We'll look left side, there's nobody. We'll look right side, there's nobody. Because whoever they were there with us are now all married. Right? And then we'll feel so lonely. Like I was saying, somebody contacted at the age of 40 saying that I want to get married. I said, like, how can we find a boy? So these things have to be understood. We cannot just run whimsically about these things, saying, "Oh, yeah." It's like saying, I give this logic saying, suppose we go to a doctor, we find that one doctor did not do a good job with his diagnosis medicines. Then do we say that, okay, now I'm going to just stop going to the doctor, and just because one doctor was bad? No, right? So if you have seen not so good married life of somebody near and dear to us, doesn't mean that that's what the whole world is about. Of course, today the world situation is like that. That's all because, again, uncultured people, no samskara, no knowledge, like demoniac, right? They don't know what is right, what is wrong. Everybody lives for sense gratification. In such a society, obviously, there'll be fights, there'll be separation. all this kind of nonsense. But that's not the standard. That's just because people have not been trained. People have not come to Krishna consciousness. But if we flaunt this system, right? If we don't want to accept this system, then the society will go for a toss anyway. And then what are we going to tell people, saying that chant Hare Krishna, don't get married, or chant Hare Krishna, leave your family? Then how can you be happy? There'll be chaos in society, right? So this is very, very important. I mean, and it's not like something targeted at women to maltreat them. In fact, like I said, Prabhupada said elsewhere, saying that this whole feminism is a means to actually just legally, in some sense, just ill-treat, or like I keep saying, right? For example, women and men working very closely, physical proximity, right? It's just a way of, it's like a subtle form of enjoyment, subtle form of sex enjoyment, right? This physical proximity has to be maintained. I mean, I was so surprised the other day. I was in the center and some lady, she came and she wanted to talk to me, and she came like 3 inches from me. I said, please, I mean, can you give some, I moved away. I moved away, few half a feet, and then I said, yeah, please tell me. People are just not conscious. They're just not conscious that physical proximity is not acceptable. It's just uncultured. No, who's going to teach? And then this physical proximity then will result in something unwanted, right? Why? Because nobody could control the situation at that point of time. And that's why Shastra says, men are like he and women are like fire. These have to be separated. Distance has to be maintained. Now, if we talk about these things now, modern women don't like all this. What nonsense. Somebody else was saying, there's some message somebody forwarded to me recently. I was like laughing looking at that message. I said, like, is ISKCON not strong enough to protect its women? What is the problem in if women are dancing in Krishna consciousness on the road? And I said, like, what do we do? I mean, I'm saying, okay, we do a Rath Yatra, then people dance, and then we are gone. Everybody's gone. Where is ISKCON to protect anybody? Where is ISKCON? How can ISKCON protect anybody for that matter? ISKCON, our Prabhupada gave us all these rules and regulations which are going to help us to protect. But if we don't follow them, who's going to protect us? If some third class person outside is looking at, our Mataji is dancing and he gets attracted and something happens, how can ISKCON be responsible for that? And then if we say, no, so why should we should not prevent all this. We should let just people be natural. Yeah, people be natural, but there's also culture. Krishna consciousness cannot be devoid of culture, right? So this is another crazy idea that Krishna consciousness is above all culture. No, it is the most refined culture, right? You see all Vedic, this one, right? When we see Bhagavatam, and like yesterday, somewhere I was, last Sunday's Bhagavatam class, right? All the women of Hastinapur, Dwarka, they all go on the rooftops. Right? That is the standard. But we want to do things. I mean, there's no, displaying a part of flesh is just considered as demoniac, right? Meaning displaying part of the body in public is demoniac. And today we think that it is norm. It is a norm, doesn't matter. And society is going where it is going. And these things we cannot accept, but we have to understand where it is taking us. Where did all this culture take US, America today? Where is it? Absolutely no culture, no marriage. How many marriages? People don't even know. Okay, this child, which husband? I don't know. Maybe third or fourth. I mean, how fallen. And we're going to get there very soon, India. Right? And people don't want to get married, then it'll result in extramarital or outside marriage relationships. All this will happen. And the reason will be this so-called, equal rights. So Prabhupada is saying social condition of women is thus not very good now. Although those who are married are in a better condition than those who are proclaiming their so-called freedom. See, wrong statement. Those who are married are in a better condition than those who are proclaiming their so-called freedom by not marrying. The demons therefore do not accept any instruction good for society. It's so straightforward, Prabhupada is saying, but people don't want to follow what Prabhupada is saying today. This is such a sad state. Is Prabhupada mincing words here? He's so clearly mentioning, so clearly, that women have to take their position in society. And that is about of being protected. And those who don't follow these rules are demons. Right? And because they do not follow the experience of great sages and the rules and regulations laid down by the sages, the social condition of the demoniac people is very miserable. See, please read these purports again and again. I mean, and I'm not exaggerating, right? I'm just explaining what Prabhupada is written in the purport. I'm just making it, rubbing it in. That's all. Right? Because otherwise we might just read this and think that, it's not for me. Everything, most of what we read in Prabhupada's books is not for me, it's for somebody else. Why did Prabhupada write his books? For whom did he write his book? That is absolutely for us. Right? When we talk about all these qualities, then we are okay. Oh, okay, yeah, because we'll think, this is unigender. Yeah, like everybody, for everybody. Yeah, demoniac qualities is applicable for everybody. Now, when we pick a particular section of society and say, okay, this is for women, then people will want to reject it. It's just asuric. It's just demoniac. Anyway, sorry, heavy purpose. Couldn't help it. Had to be discussed. Whatever is there has to be discussed. I guess somebody even left. Somebody who had joined left the class. I don't know whether it was because of the topic or because of how I presented, but can't help it. This is Prabhupada. This is Krishna consciousness. Okay, anybody has any questions? Can please ask.